Big news, everyone. We finally have a clear picture of when and how the Ripple SEC case might wrap up. In today's video, I'm diving into a major event that shook the cryptocurrency market earlier. It's a game changer. For the first time, I feel confident about pinpointing an end date for this case and whether it'll end in dismissal, a settlement, or something entirely unexpected.
I've been trading crypto successfully for over 380 days, consistently closing every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $29,000 in profits by copying my trades. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in the profile description and start copying my trades for free today.
Plus, let's talk about today's market dip, how it impacted XRP's price chart, and the key trends I'm watching right now. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the very end for the full breakdown. You won't want to miss this. Hey everyone, let's dive into some massive news today, the Bybit hack. If you haven't heard, this is making waves as possibly the biggest cryptocurrency hack in history, with a staggering $1.46 billion stolen. Insane, right? While this is a huge wake-up call about the risks of storing crypto on exchanges, it's also a moment to talk strategy. Here's my advice. If you're dealing with smaller amounts, invest in a hardware wallet. For larger sums, institutional custody is the way to go. But here's something even crazier. The resilience of these crypto giants. Bybit just experienced a $1.46 billion hit. And guess what? They're still standing strong. Withdrawals are being honored, and they've got the liquidity to patch this massive hole. That's mind-blowing. The fact that a company can survive an event of this magnitude and keep operations going is a testament to their cash flow power. It's wild to think about, right? Of course, this is a major black eye for their security practices and risk management, no doubt about that. But the ability to rebound like this, that's impressive. It's a mixed bag. There's a hard lesson here about the dangers of leaving your crypto on exchanges, but also a glimpse of how incredibly robust some of these companies really are. Maybe, just maybe, this event will push more people to rethink how they store their crypto. If you're holding a significant amount of cryptocurrency, institutional custody is a must. It's a solid reminder to always use the right tools in the crypto space for their intended purpose. Bybit might be scrambling right now, and while this situation isn't great for them, at least they managed to plug the gap. Credit where it's due. But let this be a wake-up call for anyone storing their crypto there. They got lucky this time, but who knows what might happen next. Now, shifting gears to something that's grabbed everyone's attention, the dismissal of the Coinbase versus SEC case. A lot of people are asking, why wasn't the Ripple case dismissed? Why did the SEC tackle Coinbase before Ripple? It's raising concerns. Does this mean a new administration might double down on the Ripple SEC case? Don't worry, we'll dive into that. But first, let's talk about what just happened in the Coinbase case, because it's surprisingly fascinating. One of the best parts of big legal debates on X, formerly Twitter, is seeing Jeremy Hogan jump back into the conversation. If you followed the Ripple SEC case, you know Jeremy's breakdowns were gold, clear, sharp, and easy to understand. Honestly, I've missed his insights. Huge shout out to Jeremy Hogan. The guy's the GOAT when it comes to simplifying legal chaos. Now here's the scoop. Jeremy explained that the Coinbase case was dismissed with prejudice. That's a big deal because it means the SEC can't refile it. Forget settlements or minor concessions, this case is officially dead. It seems the SEC isn't waiting around for Paul Atkins to be confirmed before making bold crypto moves. Hogan even tweeted a funny gif of Judge Judy smacking her wrist, basically urging the SEC to hurry up and wrap up the Ripple case already. This is huge. What we're seeing is that the SEC is in cleanup mode. They've realized the Coinbase case was a mess, admitting in their own way they never should have sued in the first place. So they've decided to scrap it entirely. Case closed, never to be reopened. This is practically a direct admission from the SEC that these cryptocurrencies are not securities. If the SEC can't go after a major player like Coinbase for offering so-called illegal securities, then it's clear they won't be able to label any of these major cryptocurrencies as securities. This is a massive win for the industry, yet many seem to have overlooked just how significant this development is, perhaps because it involved Coinbase and not Ripple. But make no mistake, this move signals that the SEC has all but abandoned its stance on cryptocurrencies being securities. The fact that they backed down against Coinbase, a company they arguably had a stronger case against, sends a clear message. The Ripple case is next to fall. So why hasn't the SEC folded on Ripple yet? After all, Ripple has been in the fight far longer. with much higher stakes and far more public scrutiny. The Ripple versus SEC showdown has been the main event, while Coinbase versus SEC flew somewhat under the radar. So why resolve Coinbase's case first? The answer is actually pretty straightforward. Unlike Ripple, the Coinbase case didn't have any prior rulings or judgments to untangle. The SEC sued Coinbase, but before it could reach its conclusion, a new SEC leadership came in and essentially decided to pull the plug. They tossed the case aside, signaling they're no longer interested. No mess to clean up, no judgments to reverse, just a clean exit. It's a simpler, quicker retreat, paving the way for what seems inevitable: Ripple's victory. There's really nothing to solve here. Nothing actually happened. It's as if the Coinbase case never existed. The whole thing was easily closed because it never reached a verdict. It's like saying, hey, remember that open case? Well, it's not open anymore. And just like that, Coinbase went back to being Coinbase, business as usual. But the Ripple case? That's a completely different story. Ripple was ordered to pay $100 million, which makes things way more complex. Jeremy Hogan broke it down perfectly with a brilliant metaphor that really hits home. Coinbase and the SEC went on a couple of dates and then broke things off. Ripple and the SEC, on the other hand, they moved in together and now have a baby on the way. That kind of breakup takes way more time. Someone asked, what do you mean by longer? Before diving into that, let's first appreciate what Hogan's saying here. There's really nothing too complicated here to untangle. In the Ripple case, we've already got a judgment. After that judgment was handed down, the SEC decided to appeal it. So, at this point, there's no obvious path to just dismiss the whole situation. Sure, the appeal could be dismissed, but it's clear the SEC isn't thrilled with the current outcome. They're probably thinking, forget the $100 million settlement from Ripple, we want to go back and rewrite the playbook entirely. Now, legal expert Jeremy Hogan has predicted things might wrap up in 2 to 3 months, possibly sooner. But I'm sticking with April to May as the timeline. Why? Hogan hinted in another comment, I won't dig it up now, that this case is heading towards some kind of settlement between Ripple and the SEC. Here's the exciting part, and something I've been saying on the channel for a while. A settlement is way better than a dismissal. Why? Because a settlement gives Ripple the clarity it needs to move forward. It means Ripple can sit down with the SEC and get definitive answers. What about these sales? What about ODL? What about using XRP like this or that? Ripple can lock in specifics for their business model, gaining a roadmap that others in the industry don't have yet. Essentially, Ripple could score the playbook on what's allowed long before Congress decides the rules for everyone else. Compare that to Coinbase, still stuck in the gray zone, unsure of what might eventually be legalized or banned. This could be the edge Ripple needs to lead the charge in the crypto space. Ripple's showdown with the SEC is heading toward what could be a pivotal resolution, a settlement that defines what Ripple is allowed to do moving forward. Why a settlement? Simple. The SEC wants to wrap this up and move on, but because this case has already wound its way through the system, there's no quick fix. Both sides will now need to hash out agreements on how Ripple will operate under the evolving rules and regulations. Jeremy Hogan predicts this could take 2 to 3 months, and honestly, that's a great thing. Why rush? Taking the time to finalize a stronger, clearer decision is worth it. I don't see Ripple shelling out money when all is said and done. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Ripple ends up reclaiming $100 million. Plus, they're likely to gain much-needed clarity on key offerings, like ODL on-demand liquidity and how those products are run. Ultimately, this delay is a win for Ripple. Sure, it might take some extra time, but the payoff will be a clearer path forward under the new regulatory framework. Here's why this is huge. Ripple and XRP are poised to get defined rules and clarity ahead of everyone else in the industry. Imagine being first in line when the dust settles. That's an undeniable advantage. For the rest of us, it means the SEC will likely pause ongoing litigation, take a step back, and focus on finalizing the settlement before sharing these groundbreaking rules with the broader crypto world. But make no mistake, Ripple gets the head start, and that's incredibly bullish for both Ripple and XRP. What we're witnessing right now is a significant shift. Major banks and governments are racing to issue digital currencies on the XRP ledger. This is the holy grail of what the XRP ledger is destined to become. For instance, the Digital Euro Association has been frequently tagging Ripple on social media, hinting at ongoing collaboration. They're actively working on a digital currency, and we've already seen Brazil launch one on the XRP ledger, alongside one of their major banks. But here's the kicker. Take a look at this. Back in 2021, A footnote from the France Central Bank openly discussed Ripple and XRP as a potential solution for Europe's central digital currency. Think about that. For years, groundwork has been quietly laid for what we're seeing today. This isn't some overnight development. It's been years in the making. And now, with greater clarity in the regulatory landscape, these projects are finally coming to life. We're standing on the brink of a financial revolution. Instead of a fragmented system where currencies and institutions are siloed, each requiring trust in multiple counterparties, the XRP ledger offers something radically different, a unified, interoperable platform. With the XRP ledger, trust isn't placed in individual institutions. It's placed in neutral code. This creates a level playing field where everyone follows the same transparent rule set. Imagine this. No more tangled web of trust or siloed processes. By issuing or interacting with currencies on the XRP ledger, anyone can seamlessly connect with the entire network, regardless of whether they trust specific participants. This is the foundation of tomorrow's financial system, a system where efficiency, transparency, and interoperability redefine the way the world moves money. Screenshot this, save it, study it. Once you grasp it, you'll see just how transformative this new system is. The world is shifting from a patchwork of counterparty trust to a streamlined, code-based trust. This is the direction we're heading, and every single day we're moving closer to the ultimate goal. But before we dive into that, let's quickly talk about the XRP price chart, because wow, there's a lot to unpack. Earlier today, we saw a major liquidation event tied to the Bybit hack. And no, it wasn't Binance. I almost said it, but nope, not them. Here's the good news. XRP is bouncing back just as expected. It hit that bottom support line like a trampoline, and the recovery so far, picture perfect. Earlier, I mentioned we'd likely see a rejection at the upper resistance level, and guess what? Nailed it. Now all signs point to consolidation for a little longer before we see the next big breakout. This chart is a thing of beauty right now. Seriously, it doesn't get much more bullish than this. The way it's hugging that bottom support line is incredible and shows just how strong this level is. Even with the Bybit news swirling around, XRP barely flinched. To me, this wasn't about the hack at all. It was just the chart completing its formation. The setup here is almost too good to be true. We've tested that bottom support line so many times now, and it's held firm every single time. It's rock solid, and that's setting the stage for the next big move. Whether it's the Ripple versus SEC case wrapping up, or another big announcement, all signs point to a parabolic breakout on the horizon. Maybe we'll get a small shakeup before then, but no matter what, things are looking incredibly promising right now. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope this update got you as excited as I am. Stay bullish and let's see where this ride takes us.